and encourage it. Hello, welcome back, you stinky individuals, to the Nintendo, not the Nintendo. We're not sponsored by them yet. No, welcome back, everybody, to this section of the Hanktendo Holiday HOOT. And... Bah! Did I scare you? I hope I scared you. No, but welcome back, everybody, to the Hanktendo Holiday HOOT. For those who are just watching this specific section on YouTube, because I will be sectioning these episodes off once the event is concluded, you can see on the upper left corner of your screen that this is a part of a little event that I started called the Hanktendo Holiday HOOT, where it is just every major holiday, so like Halloween, Christmas, and whatever other holidays happen. Probably not going to do one on Thanksgiving. Dear God, I'm already going to do one in the span of 3 months. Let me have this. But no, on very big major holidays, I'm going to be releasing a big Mondo episode that has a channel update, a discussion video, maybe a game review, and also a big long play section of a one-shot of a game that I've just really wanted to tackle on the channel, but didn't really know what else to do about it. So, welcome everybody to this section of the Halloween 2021 Hanktendo Holiday HOOT. Welcome back, everybody. So, for those who don't know and just aren't looking at, they didn't see the schedule, they didn't see the title of the specific video on the channel somehow, welcome to this section where we're going to be talking about Metroid Dread. So, as of recording, I have gotten to the end of Metroid Dread. I have not 100%ed Metroid Dread because, dear God, some of the dash panel puzzles I don't want to do. If I'm completely honest, I just don't want to do them. I don't. So, in this little part of the Hanktendo Holiday HOOT, on the discussion, we're going to be giving like a sort of discussion/review of Metroid Dread. I have some talking points that I want to talk about, and I'll elaborate on them if they need more elaboration. So, yep, it's back to the basics, baby. It's back to the old school reviews, technically. I've been enjoying the discussion videos a lot more. I think since I've stopped making them strictly game reviews, I've enjoyed them a lot more, so... We're going to be trying it. We're going to get back to the old style of video that, got me big views in the first place. I'm not going to be completely going back to them. This is just, Metroid Dread was a really good game. I want to talk about it. I don't want to play it again for the channel. Not just yet. Maybe in a few years. Maybe later down the line. But because I just beat it, guys, come on. Cut me some slack, okay? But no. Yeah, so I'm just going to be talking about Metroid Dread. Minor spoiler warning, as always, for talking about games. I'm not going to go in-depth about the story because, as of releasing, the game is still relatively new. It's still like a little less than a month old, so I'm not going to spoil the game. Like major story spoilers, I'm not going to talk about. I'm just going to talk about some gameplay mechanics that have already been, quote-unquote, spoiled in trailers, various amounts of stuff. I'm going to be talking about specific types of Emmy, the big bads of the game. So if any of that seems like something you still want to be... you still don't want to get spoiled on if you haven't played the game, just wait for the next section of the Holiday HOOT if you're watching this on the premiere. If not, just skip the video. It's fine. Trust me, you've already gotten me a view for the channel. I don't care if the view duration isn't long. The fact that you guys clicked on this video in the first place means more than enough for me, so I really appreciate it, guys. But yes, before we do, though, let's talk about the music and the background that I'm using for this video. This video that I'm using for the background of this discussion video is the 1 hour of spooky Halloween Nintendo/video game music video. It is from Ezinator, the guy who makes amazing compilations. I love, he's good at making music compilations, so go check him out, Ezinator, on YouTube, and I think he also streams. I remember he streamed one time a while ago, so he might still be streaming, you don't know. Mayhaps he does, mayhaps he does not, but regardless, go check him out if you haven't. He's a really swell guy. I think he is really cool, and you know what? Why not? Let's support other YouTubers on this platform, let's help pick each other up. Let's do that more as a community. I think that would just help everyone grow just a little bit more, The first thing that I want to talk about regarding Metroid Dread is that going in, I only saw the first trailer and nothing else, so I knew very little going into it. And I cannot recommend other people for doing the same thing because, oh my god, guys, like, I'm very impressed because even for Mario Odyssey, that was probably one of my most anticipated Switch games of all time. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing stuff. It feels like I am. Incredibly sorry if that's the case. But dude, I was anticipating Mario Odyssey forever when it first got announced. Like, it was my dream Mario game. I loved it. but I spoiled myself, and that's one of my biggest regrets regarding the game, is that I unfortunately spoiled myself on, like, the entire game before I even played it. So, you know, I still love the game half to death, but it's definitely, I feel like I would have enjoyed the game so much better if I knew, like, the dragon boss or stuff like that, if I did not know that going in. So, again, if this is a game that you've been really passionate about, and you have somehow, like me, have been able to only see the first trailer and nothing else regarding the game, then, oh my gosh, you need to also just keep doing that. Go in as blind as you possibly can, because I cannot explain how, even though I knew barely anything about Metroid going in, it was a blast to just go through 100% blind, and being someone who isn't even that much of a fan of Metroidvanias, it was so much fun. Guys, I cannot recommend going in blind enough. But yeah, so yeah, if you are really considering going in blind, last chance, leave the video, get the game, play it, you'll love it. If you're even interested in playing the game, you're gonna enjoy it. I promise you that. Starting off regarding the actual game, this is just the smoothest game I've ever seen on the console. I'm telling you guys, I thought for a while that we have peaked when it came to the Switch, like, regarding its hardware. Like, I thought Luigi's Mansion 3, speaking of which, if you haven't seen my Luigi's Mansion 3 Let's Play that's going up on the channel every Monday, 6 p.m. CST, check it out. I thought that game just, like, pushed the limits of the Switch. I thought Mario Odyssey pushed the limits of the Switch, of how smooth it ran and how good it looked. Luigi's Mansion 3 kind of has a few, frame crashes, which I have noted. I have seen it on the, like, I've seen it, and you can see it. It's like, you can see it. It's not the biggest, it's not the end of the world, but it's noticeable. The only times I think Metroid Dread ever, like, has a sort of like a lag spike or a frame dip is during the loading screens that it has in between the different sections of the map that you travel through. And because it sections off different parts of the map and has these like these cut-off sections, and then you have to specifically go through a loading screen to get to another area. I don't know frame rates, but it seemed like 60 frames per second. It seemed really good. And also the game itself just looked beautiful. The colors popped. Like, they just popped on the Switch OLED. I'm telling you guys, once I bought the Switch OLED model system, I can't stop playing games exclusively handheld. I can't play it on the TV anymore if I can, because, it's just the colors pop so much. And Metroid Dread especially does this so well with how they use a lot of black, they use a lot of white, and so those colors just pop out, and then they do really good with the high contrast of other colors. And like Samus, as she gets new suits, she has different color schemes that just, the colors, they just, they're beautiful on the Switch OLED. So I can't speak for people who have the original Switch. I know there's no, like, major hardware differences between the two systems, but I'm telling you, dude, Metroid Dread is probably the game that utilizes the Switch hardware the best out of any game that's released so far. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so good. I love it. I think the controls were really good. Button memory was a bit hard for me regarding just, remembering the button you use for the dash, the slide, the missiles, the power bombs, how there's two different ways to go to a morph ball, and the grapple beam, that takes a bit of getting used to. So the button memory overall was a little hard for me to remember, especially when I took maybe a 3-day break, maybe 2 days, in between, like, my two, like, big sessions of me just playing it every day. It took a bit of getting used to, or getting back into it. But dude, the controls are good other than that. It's just that, button memory might be a little challenging for people that aren't used to more complex games. So, if this is your first time playing a Metroid game, button memory might be a bit difficult, but don't let that stop you from playing this game, because it is a lot of fun. But no, dude, I'm not kidding. There's so much quality of life just put on the game. And I mean, it's obvious when there's 20 years of a difference between this game and the previous 2D Metroid. But I'm telling you, dude, like, they took marks from, like, Hollow Knight, they took marks from other really good Castlevanias and put it into their own formula of, adding a marker, being like, okay, and especially different colored markers. Like, those are really good because, especially for me, what I did was I used, like, red to be like, this is a hidden item that you can now get with a new ability. You need to go there when possible. For blue, I used, like, here's a hidden item. You don't have the ability to do it. Wait a bit. And then green was like, this is most likely the way to progress through the game. Go there last. Handle the other markers first and explore a bit more before committing and going there. That doesn't work all the time, and when it doesn't work, you have some... we'll get to that in a second, but other than that, and also, the ability that it shows you a wide area where a hidden item would be. It's just a vicinity, and so you just have to, like, spam missiles all over this one area instead of going everywhere and shooting missiles everywhere that you can. Instead of doing that, all you have to do is just, you still have to do it, but you're doing it in a way smaller area, and it's easier, and it takes less time, and that's really good. I think that's a great addition, because I already committed 10 hours into this game by the end of it, so overall, it was like a really great addition, and it saved me a lot more time, and I think I missed a fair amount of stuff. I think it was 85% done. I was trying to go for 100%, but I'm telling you, dude, some of the stuff they do later in the game, they really do challenge your way of, like, thinking through a puzzle and thinking of ways to utilize this moveset that you have. It's really cool, and I really like it. So there are new mechanics, like I've already mentioned, like the dash and the slide, and these make the overall platforming and flow of the game extremely fun. I mean, Nitro Rad, he made a tweet about this, but I can't agree with him enough. They give you the ability to slide from the beginning of the game, and you do not get the Morph Ball for a few solid hours. Like, it takes a while for you to get that ability, which is such a staple in Samus's moveset, and it's something that you normally get in the very beginning of the game. Like, it's just this immediate way of progressing through the game that you don't get until, like, almost, I'd say, like, near halfway through the game. And it's really cool because they add the slide as a brand new thing, and so it's giving you the opportunity to learn the slide and master the slide, this brand new mechanic, before it gives you a mechanic you already know, like the Morph Ball. But also at the same time, I don't know if they did this in the Metroid 2 remake, because I never played it, but now you have the ability to just jump on the Morph Ball. I don't think that was something you could do. I know, like, at least in the original and Super, you can't jump while using the Morph Ball. At least I don't think you can. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below so that I can, get some interaction for the video, but it was just this small little addition to an already amazing ability in the game that I just really liked. I really enjoyed it. So I just really enjoyed the new mechanics because especially they help so much in regards to the boss fights. The boss fights are really cool, and I'll get to them in just a second, but suffice to say, these new ways of adding to the flow of the game and how, like, you just get this, like, nice memory of, like, dash in this right time, do a screw attack jump, like, do a series of screw attack jumps to dodge these attacks, slide, giving you all of these different abilities to slip and slide and dash and crash your way around all these different obstacles. It was so much fun, and just, it's still unique enough where it is really good, and I really do like it. So the Emmy, I thought, were a great addition to the game as a means to shake up the formula of exploring and getting everything. Now you have these big hulking creatures that stop you exclusively from exploring parts of the map and getting new abilities and progressing through the story. Now you have to sneak around these guys, and sometimes you need to just run away from them and try and dodge them the best you can. Like, sometimes that's just unavoidable, and it's really fun. It's not too much of a difference to make the game different compared to, like, how Paper Mario, how it greatly differs from game to game, how the combat's done, and that subsequently makes the games themselves more unique from each other in terms of, like, game style and gameplay. How Metroid Dread does it, I think they do it extremely well in the sense of how it's still the same Samus run and gun formula, but now there's this enemy, you can't kill it until a little later. But you have to wait, and you have to explore in order to do that. It's still that same gameplay loop that Metroidvanias are known for. It's adding this new mechanic of now, I have to be more careful, because now there's this big hulking mechanical marvel that can kill me in one hit, and I can't do anything about it. So I have to be stealthy, and I have to use the moveset that I slowly start to grow in order to defeat it. I think that's really cool. The last thing I'll say about the Emmys is that later in the game, I think it's like one of the last ones. I think it's the second to last Emmy that you actually fight. I'll say that. And it has ice powers. And this Emmy has an extremely long sensor. So normally the Emmy have like a sensor that you can see, and that shows if the Emmy has you in that sensor, it knows you're there, and that's when the actual pursuit function of the Emmy starts. And that's where the actual pursuit, the actual chase happens. That's how it works. So this Emmy has an extended range. Like this thing is like at least twice as long as a normal Emmy sensor that you're used to. And if you're in the sensor, instead of it initiating the chase, not only does it do that, but if you're in that range of the sensor, you freeze for like a solid few seconds. And the best part about it all is that half the time you're evading this Emmy, which sometimes is unavoidable, by the way, you are underwater and you don't have the gravity suit yet, so you're slowly going through the water. So the one time you're in the water, like there was this section where like the Emmy wouldn't stop patrolling that specific area, so I would have to try and get frozen, break out as fast as I can, and then like sludge through the water like I'm knee deep in mud as I'm like slowly trudging towards the exit. And I died like 10 times because I would just like time it wrong, and then the Emmy would freeze me and immediately would catch me in a heartbeat. And it was a bit annoying. I would be lying if I said that was not a little bit annoying. Wasn't my favorite part of the game. And unfortunately, there's other parts of the game I don't like, and we're going to get right into that. So there are these multiple, like, occurrences throughout the game where you can only progress the story and not explore. And I found this to be so annoying when I tried to explore. Remember how, like I said, I would use the markers to go to specific areas, and if there were, like, areas that I had no idea what they were, I would put a green marker. Well, sometimes I thought I was going the right way, but accidentally I would lead to one of the bosses. And when you go to a boss, half the time, when it's a story boss specifically, and I won't spoil the specific bosses because one of them is extremely, it's a really good reference. That's all I'm going to say. It's a really cool boss fight that references one of the older games. That's all I'm going to say. If you somehow did not see the Nintendo tweet, because trust me, I was very impressed that I didn't. After that, the only way to go, because the way you got there was accidentally, like, falling down. Like, half of these boss fights start with you going in the morph ball, like, using either, like, a morph ball, like, shooter, which just, like, you use a bomb and it shoots you, like, just whips and whaps you all the way over to the next area, or it uses the pitfall blocks, those goddamn pitfall blocks, for you to get there. But then there's no way to get back, so you can get back to exploring those past areas that you were trying to go through. So you have to beat the boss, and then you have no choice but to progress the story. And that means to go to a completely different area where you even have less of an ability to explore because that area specializes in using a certain item that you don't have yet to explore. And maybe that's a minor gripe, and maybe other Metroid games do this, but I felt like I had this certain scenario happen so many times where I would try to explore, I accidentally went to a boss fight, or I accidentally went to an area that progresses the story, and then I couldn't go back to backtrack anymore than I was trying to do. So I would miss so many, like, missile tanks, energy tanks. I would miss so many of these. And so I wish it was a little more hinted at where you had to go. I wish it was a little more hinted at where this is the point of quote-unquote no return. Like, you're gonna have to wait a while to get back and backtrack through this area, so this is the area that you're gonna want to go to last if you're someone who wants to explore. I think that would be great. At the same time, though, it was really fun being lost in the game because, you know, it encouraged exploration, and it encouraged you trying to, like, solve puzzles with the items that you had. It was really cool. A part of me just wishes that they just did not make it so that you couldn't backtrack anymore because you accidentally ended up in a boss fight. That's like my biggest gripe with the game, but honestly, when you later get the ability to backtrack, it's not that bad. Of course it's not that bad, but at the same time, I just did not like it, if I'm honest. The game's amazing, I love it, but oh my gosh, it was a pain in the ass. just to say it outright. While the story definitely takes the back seat, what was there regarding lore was super good, especially during the second half of the game. Starting off, you get this big character called Ravenbeak, and he's an evil Chozo. And I guess it's technically not spoiling everything because they show this motherfucker in almost every promotional material in the game. So, sorry if you somehow didn't know who Ravenbeak is, but Ravenbeak, he's like the big mysterious character, and you're slowly learning more about him as the game goes on. And I think it was really good because the only times you really are interested in the lore is the second half of the game where the story finally kicks up, and you're finally slowly learning more about, the Metroid DNA that was used to save your life, during the events of Metroid Dread. That plays a giant role into the story, and I freaking love it. Because we knew, all the Metroids are extinct. Samus has the only Metroid DNA in the universe, or in the galaxy, I guess. And so it's really interesting seeing this story of, this one creature that has taken over Samus's life. It's finally coming to an end, and it's finally it's gonna finally be done, and she's gonna finally finish what she started, and I think that's awesome. And the story definitely, it's this nice epic tale, and I really enjoy it. It's just, it's really good. But yeah, if you were somehow interested in the Metroid still, at this huge conclusion of the Metroid species, not the Metroid games, again, I don't know what the hell they're gonna name this series after this, but you know what, maybe they'll call it Samus, The Adventures of Samus Aran, which sounds like an old sci-fi show, but that's besides the point. Story's good, and I really like it. The last thing that I want to talk about is the bosses. So the bosses were really fun, but, it was definitely a Cuphead scenario where dying a few times in order to understand patterns was necessary for your first run. So again, because I made this connection with Hollow Knight for the map mechanics, it is very similar to Hollow Knight, not in difficulty. I would say Hollow Knight is way more difficult. It's this gameplay scenario where it encourages you to die. It's okay to die because you need to die in order to know what the boss is doing. It's not a mindless boss where you're just dodging attacks and waiting for... You're just dodging easy attacks. Let me say that. You're just dodging easy attacks and then doing the big attack. A lot of games have that problem with boss fights where they think, oh, have the character just dodge a predictable boss pattern. It's so predictable they can get it their first time and they can beat the boss for the first time. A lot of games are struggling with that, especially Nintendo games. Luigi's Mansion 3, as much as I like that game, there are some scenarios where you're just mindlessly dodging attacks and you can easily win your first time. Now, granted, I don't die in Luigi's Mansion 3, at least as of recording this, I'm halfway through the series, but there was still some genuine difficulty because of the puzzle mechanics that the game has. And Metroid kind of has that. There's one boss that I know for a fact is more puzzly than it is actual challenge, but the final boss, the really good boss that I'm not going to spoil because if you don't know it, you're going to love it, and you're going to love that you didn't know beforehand. That's all I'm going to say. But dude, having to learn patterns and having to learn how to dodge these guys' attacks was really good. And here's the thing. It would have been way worse if you don't get those E-tanks or if you don't get the missile tanks, because it would probably be much more difficult because then you'd have to rely on the charge shot. You'd have to rely on what little missiles you have. So you would have to especially utilize, the patterns that you notice. That is something that I really enjoy in this game, and I think it's really cool. But I will admit, as someone who's not used to this formula of gameplay, the idea of dying multiple times makes me personally just feel like I'm bad at the game. But at the same time, when you finally learn all the patterns and you learn how to dodge correctly, how to parry in the right time, and how to shoot the missiles the right way, or predicting the boss before it even does the attacks, that is such a cool feeling, and it feels like such an earned feeling. It feels like you deserved it. It feels like I deserved to kill this boss because what? God damn it, I died a bunch of times, so I know this thing inside and out. And I think it's really cool because then, you don't even have to worry about dying a bunch of times when you're trying to get the speed runs, because the game actively encourages faster times of playing the game. And I think that's really cool. I think a bunch of other games should do that. Honestly, I think it's really cool. The boss fights were really cool, especially the final boss fight with Ravenbeak. Who would have thought the guy was the final boss? But I'm telling you, the final boss with Ravenbeak tests everything you know about dodging attacks, about parrying, about using your missiles at the right time, about using your charge shot at the right time. It's this really nice mix of all of the abilities you learned in the game, and I love it. I think it's really cool. It was annoying at first because I died a lot, but it was that challenge and overcoming that final big hurdle to end the game and to see one of the coolest ending sequences of a video game I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. It's really cool, and I really liked it. It's really, really cool. And that's all I'm going to say. Bosses, overall, they're really good. Just don't be angry if you die a bunch of times. You kind of need to, if it's your first time. Overall, this game is stupid good in terms of both quality and gameplay. With its amazing sense of exploration and challenge of the Emmy and other bosses, this game might just be my favorite Switch game of all time. And I'm not kidding, even though there's the areas of the game where, I can't explore anymore, I have to progress through the main story, won't be able to backtrack for a while, that sucks. Once you get over that, if I'm completely honest, the game is a freaking blast. It's great, the idea of exploration, the bosses, I'm telling you, the bosses, finding the hidden items, especially going for those harder hidden items, they really test your knowledge of the map and the knowledge of your abilities. I didn't use my dash half the time when I was doing the dash panel sections of the game. Those are necessary for some of the more tricky hidden items throughout the game. Even though I didn't finish it, or I didn't 100% it, because I wanted the game to be over, if I'm honest. I was I already invested so much time into this. I'm already binging this game for hours on end. Let's just get it over with. Let's just deal with it. I don't know. It was really good. Overall, game really good. That's what I have to say. All in all, what did you guys think about Metroid Dread? Because I would love to discuss this more in the comments and just talk more about it with other people, because this game is really fun. And I'm not kidding. This is definitely one of my favorite Switch games of all time. It's up there with Miitopia, Luigi's Mansion 3. I would say maybe even Fire Emblem Three Houses was really good too. Super Mario Party, I had a blast with. And, that's why I really want to Let's Play it. So again, if you want Super Mario Party as the next Let's Play, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, all in all, if I could give this game a rating, I would say it's a solid, 9 out of 10. I would say that it's really close to being perfect, but I am such a big stickler for that exploration and that stopping the backtracking thing, because I was really invested in the exploration of the game. And so when it stopped me from doing that and it encouraged me to just move on, I was a little salty about that. So I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10. But yeah, that's still a really good score. Let that be known. 9 out of 10. That's an A. That's an A. It's pretty good. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and thank you so much for participating in this Halloween Hanktendo Holiday Hoot. I really appreciate you guys so much for watching. And for those that are watching the Hoot, the whole thing through, don't leave yet. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be playing some WarioWare, Get It Together for the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for attending the Holiday Hoot. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next segment. So, yeah. Bye-bye!